Hi, how are you, fibroid girlfriends? My name is Meg Conkling. I am actually a curly hair specialist, licensed professional out here in New York. But today I wanted to share my platform to reach out to other women who are possibly going to be facing the same similar issues and coming to the same similar solutions that I am being given, which is how to get rid of fibroids. So I am going to be doing this surgically, and I wanted to share a little bit about my story because I know I'm not alone, and I know you're not alone either. So, with all of that said, I want to say welcome to this video. If you have found it, then please take out a notebook, a pen and paper, anything, use your phones, and take some notes that I'm about to share with you because it may save you some frustration and it may give you some insights on why you're experiencing what you're experiencing with the medical system and where you are trying to move forward with your journey with having fibroids and getting them surgically removed. So, if that's what you're looking for, definitely hold on tight and let's get into it. So, I want to give you a little bit of background story. I'm going to link a video in the comments below of how I was going through my last surgery with my fibroids about 5 years ago. It is kind of a long video, but the link is down below to know how I was dealing with that one. I have had fibroids basically since I could remember. I've always had heavy periods. It got to the point where I was bringing a change of clothes to my salon or my work area to change into new pairs of pants and undies because I always bled through my garments. It was very normal for me to hemorrhage during my periods. And over time, my periods wound up getting so long that I would have heavy bleed days for anywhere up to 9 days. I did go to the gynecologist. They did put me on birth control. It didn't really help. If anything, I just gained weight from the birth control. And every time I complained about it, they said that it's impossible that I was gaining weight. But whatever. I was really kind of not really trustworthy of the gynecology system. So I did not invest in medical insurance for a long time. For the past 5 years, even though I am my own business owner, I never had to go to the doctor for anything. But post maybe like 2.5 years after my last surgery, which was way more invasive and it was fibroid removal back then, I was told that they would come back, and of course they do come back, and now I'm left with the same issues. So for the past 2 years, again, they put me back on birth control. They wanted to give other options on how to lessen the symptoms of what my fibroids were giving me, but my hemoglobin levels were super low. I was dealing with really stubborn gynecologists who really were like worried that I was possibly going to change my mind about the kid situation. I never wanted children. I'm never going to change my mind. And it was just really frustrating. So a lot of my frustration was based off of like, hey, my body's not doing well. I'm not feeling great, but you're not helping me. Eventually, I wound up getting my fibroids big enough that they were giving me severe issues again. So my gyno at the time, just last year of 2021, was like, hey, why don't we get you fitted for a UTI, but we're first going to have to do an ultrasound to see how the fibroids are placed in your uterus. And then once she saw the results of the ultrasound, it brought concern. She was like, this isn't going to work. And I was like, yes, it's heading into the direction of me getting my fibroids taken care of, which basically resulted in me wanting to get a hysterectomy. I'm 37 years old. It's currently 2022 in January, and I really wanted to get it removed, but she was still resistant. So she sent me to get a cervical biopsy. That is one of the steps that you have to go through, unfortunately, to get done in order for you to move forward. Ladies, I just want to let you know, if you are going to get that done, take off of work for a couple of days. It's extremely uncomfortable. Basically, what they do is basically scrape your cervix, and they scrape it with a very sharp tool. and just kind of reliving that thought in my memory right now. I'm kind of squirmish a little bit. So I do want to let you know that there is some serious sensitivity to these procedures that need to happen in order for you to move forward to your hysterectomy, and you will get through it. Unfortunately, you have to go through it because they need to see if there's any sort of cancerous cells. Mine came back negative. I was able to be referred to a surgeon who specializes in invasive laparoscopic hysterectomies. So I had a consultation with him and I got to his office, and I was just, since I had such a bad taste in my mouth with some of the gynecologists that I worked with in the past, his assistant was very sweet, but she told me the option to get is by laparoscopic, where they would pull the uterus out of the belly button. And I asked her about vaginally, and then she gave me her personal opinion, and said, you don't want to do vaginally. And I looked at her and I said, but you didn't go over the procedure of what that second procedure looks like. So technically you're out of protocol. And so when I stood up for myself, she realized that she was talking to somebody who was not going to just be kind of the run of the mill, just being told like what she should be doing and not ask questions. So you can get it laparoscopically, where they, of course, are going to have to put the scope in through your abdomen in order to see what's going on. And they can either like cut up the uterus and take it out in pieces, or they would have to bag it up and take it out as whole and pull it through your belly button. I prefer to see if they can do it vaginally, which means it's less incisions and there's less abdominal healing, because since my last experience, so that's what I am actually scheduled for next week. I already went for, I had to go through is I had to get an MRI, and I had to get the tracer fluid put in through an IV. The MRI came out negative. And since I already did the cervical biopsy, I was in the clear of making the date for this surgery. Now, here's what I didn't know that I want to share with you that I feel like is a really big helping tool and knowledge, is when you go in for that consultation to create a surgery date, right? You have to realize that they can only schedule you 30 days out. So kind of pay attention to when you're booking these appointments. If you're at the very end of the year, just wait until the beginning of the year, because that surgical procedure is all going to go towards your copay. So basically what happened was I got the consultation. I went to the schedule room for the surgery. She said, hey, we can only schedule 30 days out. And if you can't do it within the 30 days, you're going to have to come back and redo that whole consultation again. And, that's going to be a completely different visit. And then you'll have to only be able to schedule 30 days out from that. So if you need to really prepare your surgery, know that information beforehand. I did not know that. If I knew that, I would have waited. I got the date, and I wound up turning my business into like just a very, very, very fluid transparency conversation piece with my clients. I was able to reschedule and reroute all of my clients who were pre-booked for the time that I'm going to be taking off. Their recovery recommendation from a surgeon is 2 to 3 weeks with a laparoscopic hysterectomy. Now, technically, let's get into some terminology. If you get it done laparoscopically through the belly button, they're going to most likely, depending on your age, they're going to keep your ovaries. So it's a full hysterectomy if they take everything out vaginally, because they're going to also remove your cervix. Now, there is some trepidation around the vaginal procedure, because there's some people who say nothing changed with me sexually, and then there's some women who said a lot changed with them sexually after they had that type of form of surgery. At the end of the day, you're removing a pretty large organ and a pretty important organ for reproductive purposes out of your body. You are going to have some sort of I have not been the same after surgery conversation. between whether it's scar tissue, whether it's you have some sort of damage to your bladder, which happened to me in my last surgery, whether your abdominal is not healing correctly, whatever the case may be. That's why they have you sign your life away and take absolutely no responsibility if anything were to happen to you, because liability is ridiculous. So with all that being said, I wanted to make this video to share with you what I've experienced up until this point and what I'm about to experience moving forward. So moving forward, I've already had my post-op blood taken. So they have to screen your blood around 7 days before your surgery. Be sure to call the location in which you are going to for pre-op and make sure that they receive the report from the doctor's office. If they did not receive the report, they can't do anything, they can't do anything for you. So just have your ducks in a row before you get there. Because I didn't do that, and I went there 2 other times because I was like 1 day too early, and then they still didn't have the report. I was too early on that, and then finally they had everything, and I was able to get everything done today. All they do is take about 4 little vials of blood, and they're screening for your blood type, your white blood cell count. They're screening for other things that are going on, antibodies and all of that. It is absolutely necessary for them to do, and you definitely want to get it done beforehand, like you have to, but you definitely want to get it done as soon as you can. That way you can prepare the days before your surgery without having to worry about getting any sort of blood work or anything just a day or 2 before your surgery. You want to leave enough time just in case that they scan your blood and they see something where they're like, we have a question mark here. And in part 2, I'm going to make a video of what I went through and how I'm feeling post surgery. And I'm going to share with you what I bought to make myself comfortable, how I prepared, and most importantly, how I'm doing and what I wish I knew before my experience, and then what I went through. So you can look for that part 2 in probably about 2.5 weeks or so from this video. And I'm so happy to be sharing this with you. I think it's so important as a woman to be transparent of these very uncomfortable situations that we're put in and that we're not supported in the medical system as much as we hoped. And yes, there are great doctors out there, but a lot of the times women are not supported emotionally and physically after they've had these types of procedures. I personally want this hysterectomy. I've been wanting this since I was 30 years old, and I've had to go through the monopoly and the crap of the medical system in order to get this surgery at the age of 37. So I am looking forward to it. I'm scared, I'm nervous, but you know what? I'm fully supported by so many people in my life. And when I make part 2, I'll also explain to you how I continue to get support from my community in the way that they can with the lives that they have at this time. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll be back in just a little bit. Take care. Mwah. See you later.